Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Bonding. I don't know why I said that so enthusiastically. My life is in shambles right now. I'm Troy Bond. What's up? I'm your host. I'm going to try not to look at you the whole time because that's just going to make you uncomfortable if you're watching this. If you're listening, there's not a difference. I'm just inside of your head, baby. What's up? Good to, sorry, we haven't put out an episode in the last couple of weeks. I dropped. Grandpa is not good with computers. I don't know shit about computers. All the money that I've ever blown in my life has been on computers because A, I don't know what the fuck I'm buying when I buy it. B, I'm very impulsive. And C, I equate expense in my head with quality because I thought you get what you pay for. And I don't know my way around shit. I learned how to edit on Adobe and shoot on this camera and record on this mic all through YouTube. I go to YouTube University, dog. And so I don't know anything about computers. A couple of months ago, I became a Mac guy. I'm a Mac guy. He's a Mac guy. He has a Mac. It's a big Mac. It's 2017 Space Gray. It's not new, but it does the job. But the Mac has like no storage. I usually work on a desktop. Like I'm from the 1800s. But I've been using a Mac and it's been great because it's portable. I can take it out with me when I do shows. There's really no downsides to it. Other than the fact that there's no storage on the goddamn thing, and I've been having to carry around an external hard drive, which like on the one hand is great because I'm not taking up all of this space on my computer, but on the other hand, the thing becomes like as fragile as the Death Star plans. And like my whole life is on this goddamn external hard drive. And last week I had it on a table at a club. There was this privately produced show that came through and they moved it, and when they moved my computer with the hard drive connected to it, what did they do? They dropped it. Yeah. And now it ain't working properly. I've got at least 2 podcasts on there. One that we did with Jordan Fisher, who I have been dying to get on the show, and I really hope we can get that episode back because it was a really good episode. And then one that Torey and I did last week. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering why you're not hearing your voicemails, we recorded your voicemails on another episode. I'm trying to get it back. I've been in like 3 computer stores. It like half gets back, then I take it home and I plug it in. It's not anyway. You don't care about any of this. I'm just letting you know why this episode's a little different today. I'm recording at my house. This is my. I'm being so vulnerable right now. This is my house. If you're watching this, you probably are like, yeah, that's about exactly what I pictured Troy's setup to look like. I started collecting Marvel figures a few months or like a month ago because I got back into comics. This is the worst financial decision I ever made in my life. I started reading comics again, and I used to collect action figures. I have a lifelong Star Wars action figure collection, and some other superheroes and stuff too. But when you move, you realize how big of a pain in the ass it is to have all those, and they just go from tote to apartment to apartment. And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna collect this shit no more. Plus, like the other side of it was I didn't want all my. It contributes to global warming. I feel like when I die, unless anybody claims these, this is gonna be in the ocean next to all my toothbrushes. So. That is the morality downside of it. But, like, when you read comic books and stuff, you get back into the mindset of the nerd stuff. I don't watch sports. I'm not a sports guy. I don't know shit about sports. This is my sports. So I started buying figures again, and I have relatively no money left because they all went to Marvel Legends. But I will keep doing it every time because I'm a former drug addict, and I don't know how to stop. But, yeah, this is my setup. Vader helmet, as you... saw me unbox and cry over. Got the Tony Soprano painting over there. Got this great Batman poster Brian Kim got me. Simpsons hit and run over there in the back, of course. Coco, what are you doing? Dog is digging into the couch cushion right now. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Are you upset with me for calling you out? Lay down. Good girl. Oh, she's mean mugging me right now. Anyway, welcome back to the show. Usually I write down stuff on my way to record with Torey, and then we talk about like 5 or 6 of those things. And if you've been listening to this podcast since the beginning, you'll know I used to do every episode just me talking to myself in the mic, and that's what this is going to be today. It's just getting back to the roots. How did you vote in the midterms? Oh, Jesus, did you vote? Well, I guess depending on what side you side with, it doesn't really matter. Gen Z showed out last week, man. I don't know when they're going to stop trusting polls. I thought they learned their lesson from Trump. I got to stop swearing so much on this podcast. We have Christians that listen to this episode. By the way, I said a couple of weeks ago, I said something about Jehovah's Witnesses that about them going to heaven and whatever. I don't want you to think I'm attacking the belief system. I guess I was in many ways. I'm anti all religion. Okay, so it's not. Now I feel like Bill Maher. I'm anti all religion. Okay, I'm Mr. Common Sense. Hi, it's Real Time with Bill Maher. Okay, no, but then somebody messaged me and we had a really beautiful little conversation about it. So thank you for reaching out to me and setting the record straight. I'm anti all religion. It's not you. If you're a religious person, fine. I'm not gonna sit. I had an atheist friend for a while that kind of he pushed me to that angle of it. I used to be, I guess, religious. I believed in God. I went to Catholic school when I was a kid. Not that one thing has to do with another. But I thought that I had to have faith in order to be successful. And then I realized that that faith doesn't necessarily need to mean in God. And the problem I have with religion is the moral high ground people pull out on each other, and they feel like religion is the only thing that keeps people from killing each other. And I got a problem with that, along with other laundry list of reasons why I don't like religion. I'm not an intellectual. I just am not a religious dude. Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything. You know who is religious? Those the the right wingers who lost. Well, I guess it's not a total loss. They got the House of Representatives. That's kind of a fuck up on our part. I don't know how we lost the House. We gained the Senate, lost the House. I guess that's balance. I was celebrating that McConnell wouldn't be having as much power as he did anymore, but it's looking like they're voting right now, and he's going to be House Speaker. It's him or Kevin McCarthy. Matt Gaetz. I don't know if you guys know Matt Gaetz. He's a Republican down in Florida. I watched a documentary a couple of months ago that he was in, and it got me agreeing with Matt Gaetz. It was so weird. Like the documentary was about big money and politics, and that was something that he was that he's really against. And him and Thomas Massey, both, I'm watching them being like, okay, God damn it, this documentary is making me like these guys. And I think you're going to see more shifts like that now that these midterms are over, and it wasn't the giant blowout that they thought it was going to be, because they thought that, it was going to be red wave all around. They were going to get the Senate, the House, and that didn't happen. And they kept talking about voters are more worried about inflation and the economy than they are about abortion. And they just kept pigeonholing abortion down, acting like it was some liberal issue that only everybody on Twitter cared about. But if you look at the numbers, man, people seem to have a really hard time with the federal government telling them what to do with the reproductive organs. Who would have known? Pretty much everybody. Yeah, I think we all would have guessed that, old GOP over there. So it was good weekend, or a good week for the Democrats. And now they're probably going to fuck it up, because that's what Democrats do. They're going to get really comfortable and forget where they came from. And I guarantee you, if you want to put President DeSantis in the White House in 2024, let Joe Biden run again, because Joe is already not learning his goddamn lesson. Have you seen? I give Joe credit. He's super confident post midterms now. Have you seen him at the press conferences? He's like taking the mic out of the stand. They're like, what are you going to do to unify the country now that you've won the midterms, sir? Fuck them. That's what I'm going to do. How's that a winning message, sir? I'm 2-0, baby. Papa Joey ain't got to do shit other than sniff hair and avoid Kamala. And now he thinks, it's looking like this is what he thinks. He thinks that we want him again in 2024. Let me tell you something, Joe. We didn't want you in 2020. I guess in the midterms they did, but that was pre-COVID, and you karate kicked Bernie Sanders a second time, and we had to just do a repeat of, I keep saying we like everybody thinks like I do, But 2020 was very much like 2016 in the sense that everybody in my camp wanted Bernie. We didn't get Bernie. Sensible people voted for Hillary, and we still got Trump. 2016, though, Trump lost a popular vote. So I guess, 2016, Trump lost the popular vote. 2018 was a very good year for Democrats. That was when AOC got sworn in. I think we got the House that year. I can't remember. I got a tooth pulled the day of the midterms, and I was dating this girl who I didn't realize was an escort at the time. So my head was all over the place, but I'm pretty sure we won the House. And then 2020, we got Biden. Then maybe we got the House. God, I can't remember. But if you look at it, like, by popular vote, the Dems are always winning. And, like, here's the thing. I used to be a staunch, huge Democrat, but now, as I've grown up and rooted more in reality, I'm a Democrat every 2 years on Election Day, the way that a lot of people are going to church on Christmas. That's me. Like, I was so worried that young people were going to be discouraged from ever voting again because of what happened in the presidential elections for 2 cycles, and Gen Z showed out, man, and that's who's here to replace you guys. Everybody's worried about, the Jews will not replace us. Don't worry about it, man. That's not going to happen. You know who is? The young people, the Gen Zers. And now they're all trying to figure out how to get young people on their side. But let me tell you, you guys spent the last 6 years dividing and conquering with young people. So unless you are indoctrinated at a young age and live in one of these red states, I don't see it happening of you guys getting the young vote. Although I do live in a bubble in New York, though. So what the hell do I know? I'm just a coastal elitist. I'm going to take a little sip of wine right here. And now if you live in Arizona, you know about this woman, Carrie Lake. I've been following that race for a minute, man. Carrie Lake is a pretend Trump supporter. The reason why I say pretend is because she was a local news TV anchor who had she had a tweet the day Trump won that said, "Congratulations on the Republicans electing the most obese person to enter the White House," which, I guess wasn't really on a lot of people's radar that day, but it wasn't wrong. And then sometime between 2016 and now, she got very Trumpy. I'm not really sure how you loop back around and get to that side, but she did, and she's an election denier. And that's a great grift, the election deniers. I wish I could be an election denier. You spend a year and a half campaigning. You don't really have to do a job other than just go and show up and talk about talking points and things people want to hear. You could spend a year and a half doing that, and then when you don't win the election, you could spend another year and a half talking about how it was stolen from you. It's a genius business practice. I could never do that as a comic. I couldn't spend a year and a half getting ready to do a special, do the special, doesn't go my way, and then spend another year and a half talking about how everybody was wrong, about how it wasn't funny. Who am I, Brendan Schwab? No, you could. I wish I could be in politics. It's too much of a grind, and I talk out of pocket way too much. And all they have to do is go through any of these podcast episodes and clip them, and then you'll see them on daytime news, sandwiched between a Car Shield commercial and some mesothelioma settlement. But I think I could do it. I think I could run. I'd be pretty confident in it. I think I'm the same age Joe Biden was when he started getting into politics. And now I think he's in his late 200s. So, I mean, if anything, that's career stability. And he ran for president like 10 times and didn't get that shit till he was like 80. That's the only job you could do that. Where like you can't do that at McDonald's. You can't keep applying. And they're like, no, not yet. And then you get to be 80 something. And they're like, okay, all right. Listen, we saw the other guy that was applying for the job. And we think you're the one to be picking out McChickens. John Fetterman in Pennsylvania, that was a great race to watch because he was running against Dr. Oz, which I'm sure every single day he woke up and screamed at that fact. Have you seen John Fetterman? He's like, oh, God, sweat stains, sorry. He's like 6'5". I'm 6'4", and he looks giant to me. And it's going to be hilarious watching him walk through the halls, Congress, just hitting his head every 5 seconds. But, like, he had a stroke, and Dr. Oz campaigned on that. Dr. Oz spent the entire time campaigning against John Fetterman for having a stroke. That's so fucked up as a doctor, dude. Like, that... Maybe, like, some people need a doctor that'll roast them, be like, hey, look, your cholesterol is way high. You must really love being out of breath every time you sneeze. That works when you're a doctor trying to motivate somebody into good health. It's not ideal, but I could see it working. But when you're the doctor who is accused of being a snake oil salesman for the entirety of your career, pushing IBS medication to bald women in the middle of the day for 20 years, and then you decide to flip a coin and run for Senate in a state you don't even live in, and you spend all your time railing against a guy who had a stroke. I mean, do no harm. That's like the what is it? Is it the Hippocratic Oath? I don't think that's the right word for it. But you took an oath to do no harm, and that's a lot of harm. Oz, Mehmet. But you lost. So I guess it all worked out in the end. Fetterman's approach was great, and I think more people got to take this approach going forward in 2024. Because, listen, I love Michelle Obama, but she was wrong when she said, when they go low, we go high. That shit does not work, dog. Have you seen Trump? Have you seen DeSantis? Those dudes go lower when someone else goes low. You go high, they're going to keep going low. Those people have no morality. They don't care about the populace that they govern for. They care about getting their sound bites and their little bully tweets out there. And you want to be Mahatma Gandhi while this person is cutting your kneecaps off? It doesn't happen. Fetterman got it right when he was like, "Look at this fucking weirdo. You look at him. He's drunk all the time. Do you really want that guy to be your senator?" It was close, but it was a victory. That's the only thing that kind of gives me pause on this is, like, every single election that was scary, majority of them were won, but, like, by a point. I don't think it's time we celebrate. I think it's time we hunker down, figure out what our messages are, get them together for the next 2 years. So in 2024, dear God, if Joe Biden runs again, we are fucked. I think the only two people that could really do it are Matthew McConaughey and Katie Porter. But if Joe Biden runs again, get ready to be saying President DeSantis, because Trump's not going to get it. He's not going to get it this time. They're already ousted him out, which is sad because I love watching that guy on TV. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be as fun this time because he doesn't have Twitter. But I love watching Trump. Like, nobody got it together on TV more than he did, and he never had it together. Like, my man loved to improvise. He loved to fuck up words confidently. God bless the United States. The United States. Hey, Oz, you should go easy on Fetterman for having a stroke. I'm having one right now. I had 2 this morning. It's fantastic. It happens with the bone spurs. It comes up. The United States, scrambled eggs, 1748. You know what I mean? It's I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello. Sorry, little ass, as you walk through the door. That's me. I'm Fetty Wap. Wet ass pussy. GOP. WAP. You know what's going? I'm going to miss that. I got to watch DeSantis, who's like a Trump impersonator, and they're going to be going at it. It's like watching Megatron and Starscream go at each other. That's going to be a fun one. But listen, I hope you voted. If you didn't vote, that's your problem. You're not allowed to complain about shit. But if this is any indication for the next couple of years, I believe in the young people. We just have to make ourselves not such big pussies. I don't know how we became Puritans. Like, we started censoring shit the way our parents did and their parents did. And a lot of it works. You know, obviously there's a lot of words that we shouldn't say anymore because they're hurtful. But I feel like that dictates a conversation more than just pointing at somebody in the public square and ostracizing them. That's how you get more people over to your side. That's how you win. Otherwise, they go down. There's a alt-right pipeline between being canceled for something, Andrew Tate videos, Ben Shapiro, and then boom, all of a sudden you have a show on PragerU. Nobody wants that to happen. Those guys are fucking corny. Let's keep them on the winning side. We're cool. I'm not saying we get it right every time. We get it wrong most of the time, but we get it a hell of a lot right more than the other side does. And that's all I'm saying. I'm saying we keep maybe we just loosen the fuck up a little bit. Maybe we let some people fuck up once in a while and rehabilitate them, bring them over to our side, and then we never have to worry about Cinnamon Hitler ever again. Not that we're going to have to worry about him this time, but we are going to have to worry about DeSantis, and we really got to pull together if we want any kind of victory in this next election, because otherwise, baby, we're not going to be able to say gay across all 50 states, which I do see happening either way. But listen, I hope it doesn't. Let's get off politics. Let's see what the fuck else I wrote down this week. R.I.P. Kevin Conroy, man. I obviously got to mention that. Kevin Conroy, voice of Batman, 60-something years old. Incredible, incredible, incredible man. Just outside of who he was as Batman. You know, Kevin Conroy, I didn't realize this till last year. He was gay, and he was a big champion for gay rights. Like, he talked a lot about the friends he lost during the AIDS crisis, and about how he was able to take on such a huge character without having anything to do with his sexuality, and take on this huge character that everybody could look up to for generations. I mean, animated series, Batman the animated series came out in I think 91, 92. It was after the Tim Burton Batman movies, which, you know, I think I'm one of the only people on the planet that thinks Michael Keaton is not the best Batman. Is nostalgic, but like he was kind of short. The suit never really did it for me. Tim Burton is a good director, but I keep putting my mic stand right here on the goddamn thing, and it's probably vibrating right in your ear. But yeah, listen, Kevin Conroy, voice of a generation, inspired. I mean, when I read Batman comics, I read it in his voice, and he was just such an incredible human being. 60-something, died of cancer. You could really go at any time. There's nothing funny I want to say about that. I just want to give my little tribute to Kevin Conroy. Wakanda Forever, incredible movie. I cried at the start of the movie. Namor, he's gonna fuck the shit out of Sue Storm when it happens. God pray that they do not bring John Krasinski back, because if it's John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic versus this version of Namor, let me tell you, your Fantastic Four is going to be Fantastic Quattro, because it's over for you, dog. Namor killed it. Cherie killed it. Remember, like a year ago, everybody was shitting on Letitia Wright for her vax views, and then like we were all roasting her for fumbling a bag for Marvel, and then now everyone, it's just short memory, you know. A year later, we're all celebrating Letitia, which great, you know, she killed it. Obviously, you look back at it now, and I got the vaccine, I got the booster. I could see where her hesitancy came from at that time. It was very irresponsible. Because, you know, there was the Delta variant was popping off, and you're fucking up production of this multi-million-dollar movie. Then you get the nerds mad at you. Like, look what happened with John Mulaney's fans when they found out that he divorced his wife and knocked up Olivia Wilde. They were all like, how could this stand-up comedian do this to his wife? Well, maybe say that part of the sentence again. That's what happens when you have a fan base that doesn't have a lot of sex. And I don't know how I got that, connected that to John Mulaney to Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever is a great movie. Watch Don't Worry, Darling again over the weekend. It was, honestly, I enjoyed it even more the second time. That movie's about Jordan Peterson and his incels. It's not right. I mean, you see, John Fetterman out there had a stroke, and Dr. Oz is out here calling him a loser. It's not right. I'm just looking at them. This is why I love having Torey here, because Torey will just look at me and give me no reaction when I say stuff like this, and it forces me to come up with more stuff off the top of my head, because I have severe mommy issues. The other notes I wrote down here, The Crown. Oh, because I was going to start watching The Crown. I'm trying to watch something outside of my purview, and I watched the first episode, and I can't do it. I cannot do it. It's just as bad. The Crown is just as boring as the food in the UK, and I haven't even had the food. I wrote down Elon's mom. Oh, yeah, because she just keeps defending her. She's like, my boy is had a rough time. Maybe stop making fun of him. All right. Well, that's not going to happen either. Maybe stop cutting off people's arms when they're mining emeralds in your apartheid minds. How about that? Okay, this got too serious too quickly. Let's go to some AMA. I'm going to take a look. I asked you guys on Instagram if you had any questions about me, and I am going to answer them right here. Let's take a look. Let's do it. I did an AMA on Instagram. I told you guys, ask me anything. Let's see what you ask. I hope these are some normal questions. Sometimes you horny motherfuckers be making some bold statements at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. So let's see. From Molly, are you going to do Star Wars Skits Holiday Edition? God, I can't tell you how much I hate that word, skits. It's not your fault. It's mine. It's a comedy, pretentious asshole thing. Probably not. Star Wars and holidays don't go together. Have you ever seen the holiday special? It's the worst goddamn thing on the planet, or the best thing, depending on how ironic your taste in movies is. If you get a chance, I think the full thing is on YouTube. They did a Star Wars holiday special in 1978, I want to say. George Lucas did, and it's about Han and Chewbacca trying to go back to Chewbacca's home planet of Kashyyyk so they could celebrate Life Day, but some kind of blockade is going on and they can't get through because the Empire's fighting them, whatever. I mean, it's honestly, they could have ruined the franchise with this special. It's a miracle how they didn't. It's so bad that George Lucas removed all physical copies of it in existence, and Carrie Fisher sings a song at the end of the holiday special to where she said she would play that song at the end of parties when she wanted people to go home. So Star Wars and the holidays don't go well together, but I do think there could. I mean, I got a couple of more Star Wars sketches in me. So there's definitely a couple of more of those that are going to be coming out, but no Star Wars holiday sketches yet. Although I might start thinking of some now that you said that, so I'll give you a ghostwriting credit. Cosmic 315. Would you rather have hot dog fingers or teeth on your fingers? Ooh, you know, teeth is the only part of your skeleton that you wash. And when I see teeth anywhere other than in someone's mouth, it grosses me out. But I would rather have. I guess you can't really do much with hot dog fingers, can you? If you saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, Jamie Lee Curtis was in that hot dog universe where everybody's fingers were hot dogs. I guess I'd rather want fingers on teeth just so I can get more done, and then I won't have to do foreplay anymore. Lena Marina, I'm one of your 12 listeners. Hi, it's me. Hi, Lena. Thank you for listening to Bonding. What's your question? She don't have one. Oh, she does. Why did you drop the hard drive? Were you drunk? I was not drunk. I didn't drop it. Somebody else did. Lena, for your information. You want to come in my throat like that? Lena. It was the one day I was not drunk. That's why I was so mad. Every time I don't drink, something bad happens. It's like, maybe that's just my perspective. Do you believe Mercury's in retrograde is real, etc.? What's your sign? I don't believe in any of that shit, man. All that stuff came from when people used to stab a virgin in the heart because they thought it was going to make the sun gods keep them warm for 3 months. I don't believe in shit. What's my sign? Jedi. That's my sign. Torey when is Torey coming back? This is boring. You didn't even listen to it yet, Lena. But I agree. She'll be back Thursday. I just had to put in an episode today. Let's move on to somebody who's not such a hater. How old are you and how long have you been doing comedy? Great question. I'm in my late 50s. No, I'm 26. I started doing comedy when I was about 17. And so this is what happens when you believe in yourself. Okay. Take a little wine sip. Let's go on to some more questions. From Mango Funyun. What inspired you to do the Seinfeld sketches? You know, I've always been a big Seinfeld fan, obviously, my whole life, ever since I was a kid. When I first had an interest in starting comedy, I would dress very much like Jerry Seinfeld, like shirt tucked into the pants, sneakers, blazer. And I did, a few years ago, I wrote this little web series about my life called Bondage. And one of the episodes I did like a Seinfeld parody, but I didn't ever really shoot it because I didn't think it was going to connect. And then I just ended up putting the first Seinfeld out last December with, last December. Did okay. Did another one about a few months later, and then did another one a few months later. And the one when I started doing them over the summer, they blew up. But here's the thing, like, I spend so much time with those sketches. Like, I write them, which takes however long. Then I pitch them to other people to see if they're funny. Then I have to shoot it, and that's the most fun part, the shooting. I got a lot of comments on my last one for how much I was sweating, because when I do those first of all, I run hot. I'm sweaty all the time. Because I just inherent guilt and insecurity in me, but plus I just run hot. And when I do those sketches, I gotta sort of change them around, but there's no real good way to do them. I do Kramer first, because it takes the most out of me. Like I'll post a clip of me. I'll post a little behind the scenes clip this week showing you how I do all the characters. But Kramer definitely takes the most out of me. And Kramer's probably my weakest one that I have, but physically I love doing it because it's just so much. It's so jittery, and Kramer himself is like a commedia dell'arte meets a Shakespeare clown. And everything he did was never really improvised, Michael Richards, except for when he said N-word with a hard R like 50 times. That felt improvised. I hope that wasn't written down. But after Kramer, then I try to move on to George, because George makes me sweat just as much as Kramer does, because with George, I have to I have to tighten up my body, and it almost like starts in the asshole, because like George is very uptight, and I have to put something up that, before I do George, I have to say Jerry at least 10 times, Jerry. I have to do it, Jerry, because that Jerry just is like the New York Jewish Long Island type of thing, and it makes me. George is very uptight. He's very He's a hypochondriac. He's very neurotic. And those lines are very loud, and that makes me sweat. And the last one that I do is Jerry, because I've been doing Jerry my whole life, and I'm not saying that it's good at all. But Jerry's very laissez-faire. What are you going to do here? It's just upswings. You're going this way, I'm going that way. Kerry Lake lost the election. What's going to happen next? I'm waiting for John McCain to come back. And then I don't realize how sweaty I am. I mean, I always look at the footage after I'm done shooting it, but I don't realize how sweaty I am until after I upload it. And it's been 70 degrees in November this month. So good old climate change has not necessarily kept me cozy. But that's what inspired the Seinfeld sketches, to answer your question. Lifelong fan. I love doing them. I spend so much time with these sketches that by the time I put it out, I think this is a huge pile of dog shit. Nobody's gonna like this. And there's always a good response, which is a shock to me. Because people seem to have really connected with those videos, and they found my stand-up, and people come to shows now. I had a woman the other night come to a show at Broadway. I want to show you something. I want to show you what she got me. I never met her before. She kind of, if you're listening to this, I can't remember what her name was. It's been like 5 days. I'm so bad. She kind of looked like Jill Biden. Not my usual demographic of people that come to shows. She was, older woman, older white lady. And I'm back there actually editing the last Seinfeld video I put out. And she comes over to me and she's like, "I'm such a big fan of yours." I'm like, "Oh, thank you very much." I turn into Michael Jackson when people think, thank you very much. That means the world to me. You're so beautiful." And she gave me this little gift. It says stand-up comedy. And I haven't opened it yet because I want to make sure I have some really good notes to put in this. She gave me a little a notebook that says stand-up comedy. It has a picture of a cow on the front of it, and one of the patches is in the shape of New York. This was one of the highlights of my career when she gave this to me, and that sort of pointed out to me how far these things go once you put it on the internet. You never know who you're going to connect with, and I'm so grateful for every last one of you who connect with me and continue to listen to this podcast, who watch my clips, who share them. And I don't like to use the word fans because it feels a little egotistical, That's why Torey and I always say the people. You guys are my people. These are my people, and you show me love like you're my people, like you're my family. And things like this mean the world to me. And it stems from comedy, which is one of the most beautiful things on the planet. When you think about the pipeline between things that make people laugh and people bringing you gifts to show you that appreciation. That's one of the oldest revered jobs was comedy. You know, like the kings and queens and pharaohs would have a jester to make them laugh, because it's one of the highest honors you can do in life is make somebody laugh. It's an involuntary reaction that brings people together. I've always thought about laughter in the sense of the Force from Star Wars. You know, it surrounds us, it binds us, and it brings people together. And this was clear evidence of that. Being a Seinfeld fan inspires me to do the sketches, but the connection it makes with people inspires me, I'd say 10 times more, because I think it's beautiful. I love it. What did you think of the Wakanda Forever soundtrack? Ari! What's up, Ari? Over there in the UK. I loved Wakanda Forever. I honestly can't tell you that much I remember about the soundtrack. That Rihanna song at the end was pulling on my heartstrings, and I'm glad Rihanna's making music again. I like the soundtrack from the first one a little more, or I guess it made more of an imprint on me because I'm a huge Kendrick fan. And I guess I haven't really taken the opportunity to listen to the whole soundtrack of this one again. I'm sure it's great. Ryan Coogler is great. They made the perfect decision to not recast T'Challa. The way they handled that, I was saying for years they should recast T'Challa, and I was so wrong. We didn't. This is why they handled that so perfectly. If you think about it, okay, you have to first of all think about how important the character of Black Panther was to so many people. It's first time they got to really see some representation like that outside of, like, you know, what was the last black superhero movie? Blade. And Blade's not, you know, Wakanda Forever or Black Panther is there to sort of teach you to be proud to be who you are and be proud of your heritage, and especially because black people in this country either have to, you know, they're taught what beauty standards are. Black women are the only people on the planet that go to something called a beauty parlor. Everywhere else goes to the hair salon or whatever. But they're like, no, this is what's going to make you beautiful. Wakanda Forever and Black Panther 1 did such a great job of doing one of my favorite messages, which is black is beautiful, something my dad taught me my whole life, something my grandmother always preached to me. And that movie was black girl magic. It was almost, you know, that we lost Chadwick, and in replacement of Chadwick, we got 3 incredible, powerful female black leads. I mean, what world do we live in that we get to have that? It's amazing. I never would have thought in a million years that we'd get something like that. I thought we were at least 10 years away from that. And okay, here was the tangent I was on. It's so great that they didn't recast T'Challa, because, and the way they handled his death was perfect. Movie, and if you haven't seen the movie, I'd fast forward for about the next 5 minutes, because this is going to be a spoiler for how it starts. The movie starts off with everyone learning that T'Challa has had this illness. He kept it from everybody. He was trying to handle it on his own because he didn't want to encumber anybody else's life. Then it got to the point where he couldn't hide it anymore, and it was time for somebody to step in, but it was too late. And that part in the movie where she's coming up with the cure, and they said it's 30% effective, it has to work. They told her to they told Cherie, go be by your brother's bedside. I don't think this is the time for you to be doing this. You should go say goodbye. And she's just so focused on getting this cure fixed. And then the queen comes in and he's gone. And immediately I felt like that's what happened with us and Chadwick Boseman. We had no idea he was sick. We never got to say goodbye. And there's this hole that was left for so many of us because there was still so much light left in him, and we didn't feel like we should have lost him. And the whole movie was all of Phase 4 of Marvel. You look at WandaVision, you look at Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Eternals, the whole Hawkeye. The whole phase has been about dealing with trauma and loss, and that's what made this such a mature and emotional Marvel movie. Was they didn't run away from that, and they made a physical embodiment in this film of the feelings we felt from losing Chadwick, from losing T'Challa, to where I feel like if they recasted it, we would have lost a major opportunity to grow not only this franchise and fan base, but as people and as somebody who, or as for anybody who's lost somebody that they didn't get to say goodbye to. And I thought that made this movie, it's in my top 5 Marvel movies for that reason. And shout outs to Ryan Coogler for handling it fantastically. 2 questions. Okay, this is from Han Zolo. All right, if you had to pick one Star Wars episode to get rid of, which one? Original 6 episodes only. Oh, man. That's so hard because I didn't connect with the sequel trilogy movies as much. I loved Force Awakens. I saw it in theaters every day for like 2 weeks when it came out. And I only saw Last Jedi once in theaters. Then I bootlegged it and I watched it like every day for like a month when I was going through a breakup. I wasn't a big fan of Last Jedi. When I saw Rise of Skywalker in theaters, I loved it. And then when I watched it a second time, I was like, oh, this was just candy for the brain. This was a hard way to end the saga. If I had to get rid of one of the original 6, I'm one of the people on the planet that thinks Attack of the Clones is the best prequel movie, to be honest with you. And I guess, like, everybody hates, or they did when I was growing up. Everybody hated Phantom Menace, but I don't. I love it. But I would say if I had to get rid of one, I would get rid of Phantom Menace. Just because I love 2 so much. You can't get rid of Revenge of the Sith. I mean, come on. A New Hope, a lot of hardcore fans don't love A New Hope the way they love the rest of the saga, but for me, that's such an important movie because it was an independent movie, and it was a movie about the Vietnam War and how the Empire is the United States and the rebellion is the Viet Cong, and the rebellion ended up taking down the Empire, who was 10 times more advanced and connected than they were. And you have to think, like, that movie started it all, Episode 4, A New Hope. And, you know, I'm never going to get rid of Empire Strikes Back. Are you kidding me? That's the best one. And Return of the Jedi, I love just as much as Empire. So if I had to get rid of one, I would get rid of one. I would get rid of Phantom Menace. And it wouldn't be easy because I love Phantom Menace despite all the racial stereotyping and the characters they did. Watto, have you seen Watto? What are you doing? Hey, I'm a Jewish stereotype. Mind tricks don't work on me. Only money. You know, that's hard to watch as you get older. Han Solo had a second question. 2 things. I saw you on the F train, moved my huge grocery bag for you. You're such a doll. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. I wish you would have said hi. You don't have to move my bag for me. Thank you for saying I'm a doll. I hope I wasn't picking my nose or anything, but if I was, listen, minor celebrities are heroes too. Have you ever worn, not that I'm a minor celebrity, God, I have such an ego on this podcast. Have you ever worn the Vader helmet or Batman mask during sex? Please say yes. Well, the Vader helmet, no, this is like a $250 thing. I'm not going to get cum all over that. I have 2 Batman masks, though, so maybe I should. Now you got me thinking about that. See, you horny motherfuckers creeping into my podcast. Coco, chill. I got everything plugged in. No. Stay right there. Just stay. Sit. I'll be done in 10 minutes. Don't look at me like that. I'm recording a podcast. Coco, what are you doing? Don't move. I got everything set up like this right here. Good girl. Go lay down. Good girl. Okay. What do you think about the Michael Jackson estate? I feel like there's been no hype around Thriller. This is from, yeah. Here's the thing. Michael Jackson estate is run by, as far as I know, this guy named John Branca. He was Michael's lawyer for a very long time. He's actually the one that negotiated the deal for Michael to get the rights to the Beatles catalog. I don't know if you guys know this. In the 80s, Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson were doing some music together. Paul wrote a few songs for Michael, or they collaborated on. I Can't Help It is one of them. Girlfriend, that actually might be the one that he wrote. And then, of course, they did 2 duets, Say, 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 and The Girl Is Mine. And Paul is sort of talking to Michael, because Paul, it was like right after John died, and Paul was like, "Oh, Michael, if you want to really make some money in this music stuff, you ought to, buy up some musical rights. You got to buy your masters. You know what's going on." And Michael's like, "Oh, if you're not careful, Paul, I might hurry up and buy yours one day." And Paul's like, "Oh, what are you going to do, Michael? You're going to buy my music. What's going to happen? You're going to get you wibbly doubly dibbly dibble." And then he did. And then Paul McCartney never talked to Michael again. But this guy named John Branca, Michael's lawyer, helped him get the rights to the Beatles catalog. And I guess somewhere in Michael's will, or if just as Michael's lawyer, John sort of inherited the estate, and they have done a horrible job with it, in my opinion. You got to think the first album they put out after Michael died in 2010 was an album called Michael. And they put out 3 songs that he recorded with his personal assistant's family. His personal assistant's name was Frank Cassio, and Frank had a brother, Eddie Cassio, and Michael would go hang out with them in New Jersey all the time because it was, sort of like his home away from home, and they'd known him for a lot of years, and they weren't hypnotized by the fanfare. And he recorded some music down there with them, and the story is, and it's not been proven, but if you go right now and listen to the 3 songs that they faked of Michael's vocals, it's not Michael Jackson. It's a guy named Jason Malachi. They faked the song Breaking News. They faked Keep Your Head Up, and another song, Hollywood Tonight. Now, Michael apparently recorded a couple of those vocal tracks down at the Cassio's house. He did so when they recorded Thriller 25. Thriller 40 is coming out this week. Thriller 25 came out in the late 2000s, and Kanye did a remix of Billie Jean. will.i.am was a producer on it. Akon did a song on there. They remixed Beat It with Fergie. And Michael re-recorded a verse on Wanna Be Startin' Something at the Cassio's house. Listen to that Akon, Michael Jackson, Wanna Be Startin' Something. When Michael recorded, "You love to pretend that you're good when you're always up and no good." You can hear it. That's Michael. Michael had a very strong, powerful black voice. And this guy that they hired to essentially impersonate him and lie to fans, Jason Malachi, did not. The guy had a great Michael Jackson impression, but that's not Michael's voice. And you can hear it. When you listen to other songs on the album versus the ones that they faked. Now, they did another Michael Jackson album in 2014. That was great. Timberland was a part of it. It was called Escape. They used all these old songs that were demos that never made it on the albums, and they brought in Timberland and Rodney Jenkins, who was his producer on Invincible and History. They brought those guys in to make those songs work in 2014. Because the estate learned their lesson in 2009 that you're not going to be able to pull a fast one on Michael Jackson fans. And this is the 3rd time I will have bought the Thriller album. Nobody asked for it. We're going to be getting some unreleased songs, which I guess is cool. They didn't do a Dangerous 25. Dangerous is one of my favorite Michael Jackson albums. I think it's my favorite. Dangerous and Off the Wall are neck and neck. Off the Wall, I think, is his. Coco, don't do it. Don't. She's going to roll over and it's going to knock this camera over. My Off the Wall musically is masterpiece, but Dangerous is just my personal favorite. And I wish we got a 25th anniversary release of Dangerous like they did for Bad. But Thriller is the #1 selling album of all time. It always gets dethroned by that Eagles album, but who gives a fuck about the Eagles? So I think they're handling the estate kind of poorly. I will, of course, buy this album when it comes out. I'm always excited for new Michael Jackson stuff, but I think they need to unearth what's in the vault. I saw the musical. I want to see more albums like the one they did in 2014 with Timberland and Rodney Jenkins. I think if they wanted to make some money, that's how they do it. Look at what Prince's estate is doing. I'm not saying that's right because Prince wouldn't want all this shit that was in the vault out there, but we're getting new Prince music like every year. Granted, Prince, his whole life was music, and all he ever did was make music. Michael, not as much. Michael would, he was always making music, but not at the consistency Prince was. But there's so many Michael Jackson songs out there that the public hasn't heard that they can either put out as is or remix them like they did in 2014. And I feel like they're really missing an opportunity to do that because there's so many new Michael Jackson fans that are around right now who weren't alive when he even died. And this is an opportunity for them to connect with new music. And I just feel like they keep dropping the ball every time they do it. Okay, I'm going to take 3 more questions. Let's see. What is the first thing you do if you were bitten and became this universe's Spider-Man? Ooh, that's a good question. First thing I would do is I would cut my Metro card in half because I would never need to ride the subway again. Then I would have sex because I wanted to see if the web would come out there. And then that's a good question. What would I do for number 3? The hardest thing would be not telling people I'm Spider-Man every time, every time there's like a life inconvenience or like somebody like disrespects my gangster. I feel like I would just let it out that I'm Spider-Man and beat the fuck out of whoever it is. That would be the hardest part for me. That's why I can't be Spider-Man. I think I could be Iron Man. Everybody knows who Iron Man is. That I could deal with, but I'm also not smart enough to be Spider-Man. But if I had spider powers, that's one of the first things I'm doing. I'm saying fuck the MTA. I'm swinging around New York City. Gonna show up to a couple of exes' houses and show them my new spider powers. I don't know what Coco. I told you not to do it. All right, I gotta get out of here soon because this bitch is gonna lose it on me. Comic book ass handwriting. Yes, thank you. I have horrible handwriting. I appreciate that. I don't know if you see I write in all caps because this is what my thoughts look like. They're being screamed at me all the time. World War III, Carrie Lake, politics. That's what my thought process is like. Everything is just screaming in my head all the time. Do I have a day job? Yeah, baby, you're looking at it. This is my job 24/7. This is I don't work for anybody other than Uncle Troy. That's why I'm doing so poorly. But be well. Never trust a big butt and a smile. Talk to you later.